This is take 4 at 210 words per minute.
My name is Mr. Harris, and I represent the people.
I'm Ms. Connors. I represent the defendant.
I'm the court.
I am the witness.
Ready? What happened on November 14th, 1988? Did you recall?
Yes, an individual was arrested for disorderly conduct and while en route back to the station house, kicked the police dog in the side, and the dog was used to subdue him.
And was that part of your training to use the dog in that circumstance when a person under custody kicks the dog?
When he attacks myself or the dog, yes.
What did you do with the dog to subdue him?
I told the dog to get him, and the dog bit him and subdued him. Then I regained control and custody of him.
Did you lose control of him at one point?
Objection. He's leading the witness, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Do you recall losing control?
Objection again. Same reason.
Sustained.
Do you recall?
Ask him what happened next.
What happened next with that person after he kicked the dog?
I remember that after he kicked the dog, he got loose from me, and then the dog was used to subdue him.
Now, after November 14, 1988, do you recall the next time that you had to use the dog, use Rocky?
I'd have to review a report.
Sure.
December 22nd of 88.
And do you recall the circumstances of that?
Yes, in a stairwell in the Port Authority bus terminal, in the parking levels, Officer Scott was having a fight with someone and called for a backup, and that means he needed some help. I arrived at the scene and I instructed Officer Scott to step back from the individual, which he did. I yelled at him to put his hands up against the wall, and to that he responded, "No way, I'll kill you for Christmas." At that point, I released the dog to try and subdue him, and the dog bit him and subdued him. He was subsequently arrested and returned to the precinct.
Now, in that circumstance, did Rocky do what he was trained to do at the police academy?
Yes.
Did you do what you were trained to do at the police academy?
Yes.
Now, did Rocky do what he was trained to do and you were trained to do during all the in-service training that you received after the Canine Academy?
Yes.
Do you recall the next incident where you had to use Rocky?
I'd have to refresh my recollection.
Go right ahead, officer.
Sure, please do that.
January 1st of 89.
And do you recall the circumstances of that incident?
Yes, I was with another police officer and we observed a male placing cocaine into crack vials on the 4th level of the yellow staircase, which is the north wing. All of the staircases in the north wing became color-coded, so you'd be able to acclimate yourself. When we attempted to arrest the subject, well, we placed him under arrest, and my fellow officer went to recover property. And when I had the defendant against the wall, the defendant pushed me on top of the dog and ran away, and the dog was used to subdue him.
And what you did on that occasion, was that something that you and Rocky were trained to do at the police academy?
Yes.
And in those circumstances that we just went through, did Rocky know what to do, respond to your commands, and act appropriately?
Objection.
Sustained.
In reference to the training that you received, how would you characterize what Rocky did in response to all of those circumstances?
Objection again.
Sustained. You're converting him into an expert, and you're asking him to draw conclusions that the jury is supposed to, Mr. Harris.
Well, I will ask another question, Your Honor. Did you ever receive any criticism either from the Transit Authority or from anyone conducting your in-service training prior to March 2nd, 1989, with respect to each of those instances where Rocky was used to subdue a person?
No, there was never any criticism.
Do you recall ever receiving any compliments with respect to what Rocky was trained to do and did during each of those dog incidents?
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, I want to draw your attention to March 2nd, 1989. You described for us previously the levels of the Port Authority bus terminal. Without going into them, but in your own words, would you tell us what was the first time that you decided that you had to do something with respect to that stairwell at 40th Street and 8th Avenue?
I had been in the stairwell previously during the day. That was part of my normal patrol, was to check all the stairwells in the building.
And did you have any prior experience with that stairwell?
I'd been in that stairwell many, many times.
And why was that stairway a primary area that you had to patrol?
The bus terminal at that time was much storied for being...
Objection.
Sustained as to much storied.
The bus terminal was a high-crime area. The staircases in particular were a location where...
Again, I'd have to object to his conclusions.
This is from his observation.
Let me have the initial question read back. Sustained is irrelevant, counsel. Move on.
Why did you have to patrol that stairway?
I just sustained an objection to that.
What was the purpose of your patrolling that stairway?
To deter criminal activity that was taking place in that stairwell.
And did you have prior knowledge prior to March 3rd, 1989, of criminal activity taking place in that stairway?
Yes, it was a high crime area.
And what type of criminal activity was taking place in that stairway prior to March 2nd, 1989?
It was an area that was frequented by people using drugs, buying drugs, selling drugs. It was an area where there was a lot of robberies. It was an area where there were a lot of larcenies. There was prostitution. There had been rapes in those staircases.
Objection. He said staircases, Your Honor.
It's an area within the terminal. The only objection is that he said staircases. Overruled as to that. The area you're talking about is the stairwell, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell us what happened on March 2nd, 1989, when you first became involved with that staircase with respect to what happened with Mr. Dooley.
It was about 21:45 or 9:45 regular people time.
Civilian time?
Civilian time, and I was looking through the window of the suburban bus level from the elevator lobby, and I observed a male standing several steps from the landing smoking crack cocaine, and there were several people standing in front of him. At that point, I started to open the door, the dog barked, and the people fled. Some fled downstairs, and the male that was on the stairs fled upstairs.
What happened next?
Well, prior to the male fleeing upstairs, he dropped a crack pipe and a brown paper bag and a lighter to the ground. He fled upstairs. The other people fled downstairs. I ordered the person who fled upstairs to come back downstairs. I yelled at him a few times to come back downstairs because he didn't come back down right away. Took him several seconds to comply. He came down the stairs, walked past me, and I instructed him to place his hands on the wall, at which point I continued to tell him to keep his hands on the wall and not to move from the wall. I recovered the brown paper bag and the crack pipe and placed it in my pocket.
Let me just interrupt you right there, if I may. What's the interior of the stairwell like?
The stairwell itself is, lighting in some places is pretty decent, and other places people break the lights, so the lighting is pretty bad in other spots. And you know, basically at that period of time, there were a lot of people living in that bus terminal in those stairwells, so there was a lot of...
Objection, Your Honor. He asked him about the lighting.
No, I said what it was like.
Let's move on.
Did the stairwell smell?
The staircases were basically toilets, open toilets.
Were there windows in the staircases? By windows, I mean windows leading out to the outside for lighting purposes.
No, the only windows would be the small windows in the doors that separated the lobby areas from the stairwells.
Was this an open staircase stairwell, or was it closed in?
It's an enclosed staircase.
Now, when you had Mr. Dooley up against the wall, can you tell us what happened at that point?
I continued to tell him to keep his hands on the wall. He appeared somewhat agitated to me.
Objection.
I'll allow it. Overruled.